Alright peeps, welcome back to another battle report, and I'm pretty excited for this one because this is the first battle report of the channel that features a war engine spam, and this is Basileia versus the war engines of man.
Hello there! I like to watch battle reports to get better at games. So I started making short, summarized battle reports that focus on learning points. So welcome to my channel, Newbie Dice. Do like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you enjoy my videos.
Welcome back. So before we proceed, I do have a small little request. That is, if you already know that you're gonna enjoy this battle report, please press that like button right now. And of course, if you have not subscribed yet, please do so now because people tend to forget after they finish watching the video. With that out of the way, let's look at our lists. So my list is Basileia. I've been continuing this Basileia streak, and this time is 2,300 points. So I added basically 2 more units of Elohai regiments. So I have 5 units of Elohai regiments now. Still a pretty elite list. And for my opponent, he has Kingdoms of Men with Night Stalker allies. For Night Stalker, he took a Spectre Horde for that extra shooting with Mind Screech, amazing lightning bolt character, and Banshee, which has that wind blast with damage as well. So another thing he feature is 2 spear phalanx horde with the pikes, so they have phalanx and snare, hard to kill, especially for my army, which features a lot of flying and cavalries. And so he has 5 war engines, 2 cannons, and 3 siege artilleries. On top of that Spectre Horde shooting, Mind Screech shooting, Banshee shooting, he still has a Wizard shooting, as well as, I think that's about it, except for the General with a Trickster's Wand. So let's go on to deployment. So the first thing I'd like to say that I made a mistake of was that I forgot that this push scenario, this is a Call to Arms, this season 3, my 3rd game, started in October 2019. We're all still pretty new to 3rd edition at this stage. And the first thing I forgot was that there's a central token for the push scenario. So I thought that only has those tokens that's on the units, and is specified in this league that you'll be played with 1 token. So I placed my 1. So you deploy all your units first. So I deployed away, shying away from the center, because I thought with this forest on the left and this obstruction on the right, I can really block some LOS from his war engines onto my units. So I shied away from the center. Anyway, there's an obstacle and a field here that hinders my movement, so I dodged away and deployed on the left and right. So after that, then you start to place the token, and then we place 1 each on our units. I place on these ogres, which I'm gonna punch through to the opposite side. Notice how much heavier I deployed on the left because I want to support that token over, while he placed his token on the center on this shield wall unit, but this shield wall is behind the specters. And then after that, my opponent said, oh, and there's 1 more in the center. I was like, what? I'm like, oh god, now I need to figure out how I'm going to protect against this central token. Okay, so 1 thing to take note of, I think my ogres being deployed here with that forest blocking the way, I am pretty much safe from most of the war engines. I think only that furthest one is able to get line of sight on me. The rest will not have. Let's see this second last one. Maybe yes, maybe no. Can't draw a straight line right now, so I can't tell for sure. Okay, so I probably won the initiative roll and chose to go first. And with that, I did a lot of maneuvering, figuring out how I'm gonna move to block as much line of sight as possible. I want to make sure that he has as little shooting targets as possible. So notice how I hide quite a lot of units behind the forest and behind this this house over here, the obstruction. So even with my best efforts, and I have to keep this Elohai unit back to hide it behind the forest. And even with my best efforts, there are still some units exposed, namely this unit of Foot Guard, and then this Elohai over here. The war engine still has line of sight. These 2 war engines still has line of sight over. And what is doing standing here is also blocking line of sight to my ogres because they are all height 3. So at least my ogres will not be shot at as much, right? So with all that maneuvering, he still got a decent number of shots, and you can see that he dealt 7 damage to my Elohai regiment, probably 8, failing to rout it, so they healed back to 7, and then a little bit of damage on the foot guard over here as well, right? So what else? The one key thing is this spear phalanx is facing towards the center, which is towards the token. Of course, this central block shuffled up as well because he does want to get his token over to the other side. And you can see that his spear phalanx is getting ready to receive me in this with this obstacle in the way. So let's look at what I do next. Top of 2. So top of 2, let's go from left to right. So from the left side, I send 2 Elohai regiments in, acting as chaff that still deal a considerable amount of damage to each of these 2 units, setting up 1 more Elohai, 1 ogre, and 1 of the knights to follow up for a second round. So the way I position, I think I fully expect both regiments to die. So then I will charge in next round with the knights plus the ogres, and then for the fanatics, I'll charge in with the other Elohai regiment. That was the plan, or maybe I can charge all 3 into these spear phalanx because I think that's the biggest threat as well. So he does have this flying general on this side. This is the general, which can get flanks if I'm not careful, right? So these 2 regiments of foot guard is there to guard this center token, and my foot guard over here shuffled forwards to be in this rear of this unit, and the other units sort of danced around trying to get good positioning as well. So let's see what he does in return. So despite my early efforts of trying to move up cautiously, I still took some shooting damage in the first round, and in the second round it continued, and he killed these 2 regiments of Elohai. So 320 points down the drain already, and he turned his spear phalanx to face my foot guard over here. So over on the left side, he has charged into both units of Elohai, and very luckily both of them held, so pretty lucky on my part, while the rest of the units just shuffle forwards to threaten that central token. So at this point, I should have known that very likely I am going to bring these ogres across to the other side for 2 VPs. So what I need to do is to stall the center, right? Stop his unit from crossing to my half, as well as protect this central token at all costs. So that was my strategy going into this game, and I should have just stayed focused on this strategy. So what I do in my response, let's go from left to right. From the left side, because my Elohai regiments were still around, I countercharged with this Elohai regiment, as well as charged the ogres in, and I did a pathetic 3 damage only. Look, I did 3 damage in the first round, and this combined charge only dealt another 3 damage. The Elohai, on the other hand, after 2 charges, killed off the fanatics, and I made a little bit of a mistake here. I pivoted a little bit so that I wanted to have this threat angle on the war engine over here. But in doing so, I exposed this tiny sliver over here past the ogre's line, and that opened up a flank charge from the general over here. Okay, because of my 2 Elohai regiments surviving, I could turn my knights to face the center and assist the center, and my Elohai over here also turn towards the center because I do have to delay and threaten his center so that he doesn't get to this token. Okay, let's look at the right side. This foot guard charged into the spear phalanx, only dealt 2 damage, and I positioned my ogres to follow up with another charge afterwards because this unit is very likely to die. I think he has a Bane Chance source, and this unit is probably the one with the Brew of Strength. Yeah, he placed the one with Brew of Strength near his Bane Chan source, while the one that's not gonna be supported, he has the Hammer of Measured Force, which works wonderful in this case because all my things are defense 5. So let's see what happens next. Let's go from left to right. So expectedly, he charged this general into the flank and dealt quite a bit of damage. And then the Spear Phalanx charged the Elohai, the injured Elohai regiment, and killed it and turned around and faced this way. And now I have a small little problem here, which is my ogres are blocked by the general and couldn't charge the Spear Phalanx. Okay, and I've already turned these 2 units around to face the center. So let's see over here. This Spear Phalanx, with the help of Bane Chant, killed off the Foot Guard. Okay, and unfortunately, my ogres, which are supposed to follow up, got killed by all that shooting that's still on the board, and they're gone, right? So let's see how much this is supposed to deal. 30 attacks hits on 4, so 15 hits, 10 wounds with the crushing. Yeah, so dealt probably above the average and took it out. Okay, so let's see what's next. So let's look from left to right again. So with my ogres dead, I don't have anything to fight against this spear phalanx anymore. I think he turned towards the center. Let me double check that. Yep, he turned towards the center and to face this oncoming threat. So my Gur Panthers could charge one of the war engines to to waver it. I think whether waver it or not doesn't matter because it's not dead. I still have to charge it one more time, and I think he placed this wizard all the way back so that it can't be charged because the it's all the way against the back of the board while the war engines are slightly angled, so my Gur Panthers can't get in there. So it's protecting his wizard. So let's look over at the center. So these 2 units combo charged the what's this called, the Spectre Hordes, and killed it. And I think the knights were not hindered. I positioned a way that it wouldn't get hindered. I guess, yeah, I think I used this this unit to block off the forest so that when my unit charge it, wouldn't clip the forest. And so it's hitting on 2s and wounding on 2s because it has the sharpness, Brew of Sharpness. Okay, and then after that I started to angle to layer myself to guard against the threat of these fanatics and this spear phalanx on the center. Okay, on the left side, sorry. So I double charge, one in the flank and one in the front, killed the general, and I turned my ogres to face in such a way that if he charged me, he'll get hindered by the wall, the obstacle. So bottom of 4. So what he did, let's look at the left side first. So instead, he did not charge me because he doesn't want to be hindered. His strategy is probably to receive 1 charge, hopefully survive, and he can counter charge and kill the ogres. Okay, and let's look at the center. His fanatics charged into the Elohai and probably with a Bane Chan dealt quite a bit 8 damage, but I did not die and healed to 7. And for the knights, it was pretty unlucky on his part because I think he put all his available shooting into the knights. And I think there's at least 3 of the artillery, plus probably the Banshee, plus the Mind Screech, plus the Lightning Bolt from the Wizard. And he failed to, I think most of them whiffed, so I only took 2 damage, healing back to 1 on the knights. What else is we should be looking at? And he did this sneaky little maneuver. So what happened at this point, bottom of 4, I'm already a little bit panicking that impending doom of the unstoppable spear phalanx is messing with my mind. I'm thinking throughout this whole second part of the game, how am I gonna layer my forces to stop his spear phalanx from getting to this central token? And in that process, I have failed to see that my opponent has sneakily placed this wizard in a way that it could dive in for the token if it had the chance. So that's what's happening on his side. So top of 5, what did I do? My top over here, my Gur Panther continued to charge the war engine the second time to finally kill it. Okay, on this in the center, my knights charged into this is a shield wall, did significant damage to it, and then my Elohai countercharged the what's this called, the Fanatics, with the assistance of the Foot Guard over here, killed it off, and I positioned myself to sacrifice against the Spear Phalanx. And so this is where I start to layer. Okay, I have 3 layers, 1, 2, 3. Hopefully I can keep charging the Spear Phalanx to keep him away from the center token, and the Knights are here to stop the shield wall from getting past as well. So I totally did not realize the wizard on Pegasus is there to threaten and get that token. Okay, on the left side, let's see what happens over here. I triple charge the Spear Phalanx with this little Paladin Chaplain over here. He's a hero type model, 3 attacks, hitting on 3s and crushing 1. Okay, what I did not kill it, and what I was almost afraid of was this. He could charge the Paladin Chaplain, and if he killed it, it could be a flank into the Ogres. Of course, at the time of this recording, it's clarified by the rules committee that if an overrun from killing an individual should be treated like a surge. So if you hit a facing, it will be that facing and not based on the center point. So, but at that point of time, I was a little bit afraid I made a mistake because it could have been ruled as a flank charge over here. But of course, now it's ruled as a front charge if he overruns over my Paladin. Alright, so let's look at the center now. So he countercharged against my knights, I think, with the shield wall plus this squid over here, the Mind Screech, and my Paladin knights held, and this is where he got the chance to dive next to my unit and catch the token over here. And at this point, I also sort of lost track of the number of turns left, which is major big mistake on my part, because what I did next was not the correct choice. So what I did was, let me see, the unit of Foot Guard behind luckily could still see, just able to see the wizard, and I charged it in the flank, right? And it is hindered, but it has 24 attacks elite, so that should be 12 hits plus a little bit of elite, maybe 13 or 14 hits, and yeah, probably about 7 wounds, and his nerf is probably 10-12. It's pretty easy to take out, but I rolled very poorly on the nerf roll. But what I could have done was to give it a Bane Chant to have dealt much more wounds to make sure that it's much easier to kill. But what I did instead was I Bane Chanted the Knights, which took out the what do you call this, the men at arms, and so that I got the token. So I'm sitting on 3 points right now, but it doesn't matter that I got this token, because even if I didn't get this token, it's more important that I kill the wizard, right? Because that will deny him of these 2 points, and with just that 2 points on the ogre side, I will have won. No matter, even if this shield wall survived, it will only have been worth 1 point because it's still on his half. So that was a big mistake I made over here. And of course, the Foot Guard charge trying to block these Spear Phalanx from approaching. The Gur Panthers, I think it charged the rear or the flank of this shield wall to make sure I am able to take it out, just to contribute a little bit more damage. And on the right side, on the left side, second round of combat, I finally took out the Spear Phalanx, and I'm there. The token is not showing, but my ogres are sitting there safely with the token. So what it did in the end, this is the bottom of 6. This wizard is wavered, I think, so it just disengaged and faced my paladin, right? And I don't know if that was a turn 7. I could have reclaimed this, or maybe I kill it and keep that token there while I block the spear phalanx from getting to it. So that are some of the options that can be done. But his remaining shooting managed to take out my knights, right, with some lightning bolt, the wind blast from the damaging wind blast from the banshee, and these cannons. The siege artillery has that minimum range, so I think it couldn't shoot, but the cannons could still fire. So it still took out, and there was no turn 7. So what happened was it was a draw because he has 2 points on the wizard and I have 2 points on the ogres. So pretty bummed out over there by this loss. So let's look at this learning points. So I don't think hiding against war engine spam is a effective strategy, because if you hide, your options and moving maneuverability for the next round is kind of hampered. So yeah, he can't shoot you, but you can't go anywhere either. And as long as you have something still revealing, still showing, then he would just pump all his shots into that something, and then the guys that hit probably don't have much good movement options. So you should go all or nothing. Either you hide everything effectively, or you don't hide them at all. I think in general that should be the strategy. Of course, case by case it might differ. So yeah, identify safe zones that's out of the line of sight of the enemy. That's what I identified for my ogres on the left flank, that I would be safe from the war engine fire, and I'm definitely able to get them into the opponent's half. So against the war engine spam, you do have to push forward for the contact, right? Because once you start contacting them, then they have to decide, okay, do I counter charge back and can't shoot, or do I stay back, and then I also waste the units fighting the fighting units turn. So do focus on board control. So I did lose the attrition this game. I did suffer heavy casualties from all that shooting, but on the other hand, my opponent was not very strong on the scenario game. So his push token was on his half the whole game, and if I had paid more attention to that central token, he would not have been able to snatch it. So that's something to take note of. Against war engine spam, you might be losing on the attrition game, but they will suffer because they have to hold back to maximize their shooting. They will suffer in the scenario game. Yeah. So, and I did lose track of the number of turns left, and to focus on protecting and how long I need to survive and protecting that central token. So do take note of that. Okay, this is for my opponent. I'm not sure if putting that push token on that central shield wall was the right decision. Maybe he should have put it on the right side spear phalanx instead. They are less likely to die, especially when I'm less deployed. I have less units deployed on the right side, and he focused most of his shooting on the right side because he can't shoot the left. The war engines can't look at the left side. So yeah, so do take note of having your push token carrying units being blocked by your own army, especially with that horde of specters in front. It was trying to back up to maximize its number of turns shooting, and that also boxed the unit behind him. So this was my major mistake of the game. Beware of the flying scoring heroes, especially with that wizard on Pegasus. It is a very, very low cost unit, and that's what got him the tie and attrition advantage out of that tie. And yeah, that's it. Slightly longer on this battle report, but I hope you enjoyed it and have some learning points. I think this is a very good example of a game against a war engine spam army. At the point of this game, I think there was a bit of hoo-ha about these war engines, but I think they are quite okay, quite manageable, especially when I'm already taking an elite army, and I think I still did all right against it. It wasn't that devastating. On the attrition side, I did lose out, but once again, on the scenario side, I did have the upper hand. So with that, I hope you enjoyed this battle report. Do remember to like and subscribe and hit the bell icon for more. And I'll see you in the next battle report.